Welcome back to the chat. It's hard to believe that nearly 2 years ago, 2 pressure cooker bombs exploded right in the middle of the Boston Marathon, killing 3 people and injuring more than 260 others. And since that time, a federal court in Boston has been preparing to hear the case against Dokov Tsarnaev, one of the alleged masterminds behind the fatal attack. But the trial is being pushed back because defense attorneys say there is no way they can have a fair and impartial jury in Boston. And we are joined now by our legal contributor, Heather Quick, to weigh in on this case. So defense attorneys, what are they doing? They say we need to find a whole other change of venues. Because, I mean, who hasn't heard of the Boston bombing, especially if you're in Boston?
It's going to be very difficult for them to find a fair and impartial jury in that small city based on the gravity of the event. And, you know, it impacted so many people and was so shocking. And, you know, that's going to be a delay. And that really is valid under the Constitution that they're asking for that.
But they're not allowing it yet, right?
That's right. The judges are.
That just astounds me. How can they not allow that? I would think this would be, I mean, an easy one to say you got to move the venue.
Well, in federal, you know, and it's in federal court, and the judges, it's different than in state court, but it's still within, it's up to the judge. They get to decide. They ask certain questions. And many times, and if anyone who's been in a courtroom, the judge says, well, if I tell you to follow the law, are you telling me you're not going to listen to me? And you know, because so many people don't want to be a part of it, and the judge may not want to move it, and the cost of moving it could be, you know,
astronomical.
Pretty, really astronomical.
What kind of costs are associated when you move something like this?
Well, you've got to get the judge and then the prosecutor, the defense. I mean, that's all on the government to move. And how far away are you going to go?
And who hasn't heard of this case?
That's true.
That's the thing. It played out on
Where
national
do they
media.
go?
It doesn't end
Where
up
do they
being
go?
who hasn't heard of it. It's who believes that they can give an open mind.
Yes.
And I mean, I was in Oklahoma when the Murrah building exploded with Timothy McVeigh, and they moved that to Denver. I mean, so I would think this is along those similar lines that they would. I mean, that was kind of a no-brainer at the time when
And
they
it's
moved
really,
it.
it's a question, is the prosecuting objecting that? Because really, they want a good trial. They want a conviction. They don't want anything that's going to be overturned or mistried because of jurors. And it's just when it's in that close proximity, like you said, it's not that people haven't heard about it, but if you're affected by it.
Right.
You know, when you're within a city, you know, you talk about those 10 degrees of separation, it's not going to take that much.
And a lot of the jurors said, listen, I've heard about the case. I don't know why we're even presenting this in front of a court. I think the guy is guilty. And you had a lot of jurors, I think it was like 60% of the jurors who were polled had that opinion. We want to get your take on another legal matter. And this is interesting because there's a New York woman who is suing a global cosmetics company over the claim that one of its $60 signature bust-enhancing serums failed to deliver the promised results. And she said she's not going to take it. She says the company guaranteed this serum. You ready for this? She says it was said to leave her with bigger, quote, and firmer breasts. And she said it didn't work. So now she's accusing the company of unfair trading and false advertising. Okay, so what do you think? Does she have a case? Because listen, there's a lot of products out there that say they're going to do some really cool things, and a lot of them really don't live up to the hype.
Good for her, though.
Really?
Oh, good for her. You know, there's so much hype out there. Do this, and this stuff is so expensive.
It is.
So if you buy
good for her.
booze that
Now,
tells you it's
I
supposed
wouldn't buy the boob cream,
Okay.
but there's other things I would buy for
Okay.
wrinkles or things like that, or the hair products and stuff. If I'm going to drop $60 on something or $160, I want it to work.
I would like to see what it says. I mean, how do you, because like Charlene said, there are
Sorry,
a million
didn't mean
things
to go
that
off on a
say,
tangent there,
you know,
but-
how do you disprove or
Well,
prove something
the thing
bad?
is, now it depends on what's their claim. Okay, so she's suing for false advertising. Well, what did they say? Did they say has been tested, or in the teeny tiny print, did it say these aren't actual results? This is a model, and this won't really happen to you.
I don't think she
You've got to
stands
buy
a
the
chance.
push.
Are you kidding me? How many
No.
of us have gone out and bought products that we hoped and wished that would work and it doesn't? So we can go back and sue?
I would love to.
Right.
Well,
so
again,
you go.
it depends really on what they are advertising,
Yeah.
because when you're making health claims, or this may say, well, you know, results may vary, and you know,
There's
maybe
the
you also
CYA.
need a different
Yeah.
bra, and that will help, and all this other kind of stuff, which they will. But when you test it, and a lot of times we look at health products and fitness products, they really, you know, when you're marketing it, is it going to work? Have you tested it? Like, do you have anybody it worked on? And that will be the thing, you know, who did it work on, what was going on. They don't have to disclose all of that, but there
And
does
if it
have
just
to
worked
be
on
some
one person thought that they had good results, I mean, would that be enough to check the box? I mean, I don't know. I'm just.
Well, it can, but yet she's not going to win.
Wasn't it
Yeah.
like Listerine,
She's
though,
not
got
gonna
in
win.
trouble because they were saying that if you gargle with Listerine, it would make you healthier, and then they got in trouble for, they got in
really?
trouble for claims. So there are a lot of, this
Yeah,
is not new, this has happened before.
But then we look at
Changes
the
have been
FDA. See,
made.
Listerine, you know, and you ingest it. This is topical, so there's
Yeah.
different. There are still some standards, but not as much.
And did she really think she was going to get bigger boobs for $60?
Well, she probably did. Have you seen all
Let's
that?
get right down to it.
There's a lot of stuff everywhere, and there's like, cream takes away your cellulite. There's all kind of
You're
claims
eating your
out
wine ice
there.
cream. You're like, I want bigger boobs for $60. Sure.
This is a
Charlene, no.
confirmation
Wine,
moment.
ice cream, bigger boobs.
I'm with Charlene, the accountability on the part of the consumer. Like, listen, if we buy something, I'm spending 60 of my hard-earned dollars to buy a cream that does Lord knows what. I mean, I want it to do Lord knows what.
I don't think it's fair to say, well, we should know better that they're lying to us.
No, I don't think that's fair at
good
all. I don't,
precedent
but
setting.
It depends what was said. I mean, if it gets
Yeah.
that teeny tiny print.
Yeah, and that's why they probably have
And-
huge teams
And have
of
you ever
legal
seen the
analysts.
inserts?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the inserts when you buy? Like,
But you have to buy
cosmetics
it to
or
read the insert.
Yeah,
but
then
who
you could
does that?
return it.
You could
and-
That's
return
like,
it.
that's like the Facebook terms and conditions. You're like, okay, whatever. All right, let's go. And then you have no idea
And
what
then we
you're
have a
agreeing
story
to.
about agreeing
You
to
have
it.
more
Heather
of a
comes on and
claim,
has to
I
say,
know.
you signed up for it.
Yes, boy,
But
they
you have
really-
more a claim, of
they
course,
really want
if
us-
it hurts you.
Y'all going to be in
versus
trouble.
if it just doesn't
Yeah,
do.
I think we
what
gotta
you're-
go.
Okay,
We
we
gotta
gotta
go.
go.
We gotta follow
All
this
right, we
along.
got another
Trouble.
case.
Next story. Okay, all right, because we wanted to get your take on this because there was the ski resort in Michigan that we talked about at the top of the show. These guys, the fraternity brothers, went and they just tore up the place, $50,000 worth of damage. I guess the manager who runs that place says he's going to talk to the university and he wants to file criminal charges.
And he should.
And
They all
can,
should.
does he have ground for criminal charges, and what would the charge be?
Oh, absolutely. Well, among the individuals, of course, all of the individuals there, that could be felony vandalism. Absolutely. I mean, one report I said it might have been $75,000.
Yeah.
So absolutely, criminal is a no-brainer, and really that's not up to him. I mean, he is the victim, but the police should absolutely get involved and not protect these kids. That's just awful.
It
to
is.
damage someone else's property. And as a business owner, I mean, that's just ridiculous.
That's their way of
they
life.
should.
That's
That's
their impacting
absolutely
future
And it's
earnings.
ski season.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
how is that going to impact their business?
And you know what the manager
in the next
said?
few months?
None of those guys skied that whole weekend. They were just there to
Well, of
party
course
and tear
not.
up
Did you see the
place.
place? They were drinking the whole time.
Yeah, Tony's like, I know.
Been there, done that, without the destruction, didn't you? You know, but they even said that they're going to meet with university officials. Why wouldn't they meet with the students? I mean, these are fraternities and sororities. Why wouldn't they meet with those groups rather than?
Why would
the
you want to? They're
university-
criminals.
University officials.
And plus, the university officials have the money, so we're going to let you know.
So is
We're
that
gonna
mean
sue
civil
'em.
along the way? So there's criminal charges against the students. Could there be criminal charges against the university or more civil?
I think more civil. Well, and really, the criminal doesn't get you anything, and I think
Right.
that's too far of a nexus to prove anything. It will mostly be the civil, because of course, let's look who's got the money: the parents, the universities, the sororities, and really, they're going to have. Okay, they've got the damage. So that's the damage. Now they've got to fix it, and then there's going to be such a loss of income at this period, their peak time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Th-
Well, you
those
always
people
say
better
with
pay up.
damages, prove what you've
Yes.
lost, and they have a definite way of
I
proving
mean, we've seen the
what they've
pictures,
lost.
and I think it's going to be interesting. 2 resorts, and what were these fraternities and sororities doing, and you know,
that's
who's going to
awesome.
be liable? Who sanctioned this?
All right.
And then
From
the
the
next
school.
question is, if the university didn't sanction it, can the university say, look, you got to go to the National Association of these fraternities? We don't, is the fine print that the university's not liable because they didn't sanction the event.
And well, they sanction the sororities and fraternities, and anytime you see the house like that and it's on campus, and then okay, they all took a bus up there and they went and it was organized to some extent.
I don't know.
Yeah, somebody's gonna pay.
TBC, to be continued.
Yes.
We'll follow
Yes.
this one.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Heather. And if you have any questions for Heather, you need any legal advice, you want to pick her brain about anything, you can go to her. What? I don't know. You're right here. I'll give your website away. Quicklawgroup.com. She will answer whatever questions that you have. So just don't make them too long. Put them
Will
in the
the
form of
cream
an
make my
email.
boobs bigger?
There you go. Maybe not necessarily that question.
That's not a great question.
Anything other
But
than
anything.
that.
Just
Still
call
to
me.
come in the chat. When it comes to relationships, are any secrets, you guys are nuts, even if they seem small, are they okay to keep from your partner? We're going to talk with our relationship expert, Dr. Marks, and he is coming up next.